45 seconds, rings close. Target over there. Hostile right here. Found. Copy that. Reloading. I'm taking shots. Not sure.
Wow! Wow!
I'm down.
Holy shit! Man, I'm not done. Apex Legends fucking sucks. Well, that's what I would say if I own and paid for this unfinished public beta of a game, but thankfully that wasn't the case. The experience of Apex Legends is more like a quick salting. First of all, I've been against FFA game modes and FPS since the days of Halo 2. I've always found that they end up being a horrendous experience for many involved in the match. So what you will hear is almost 2 decades of FPS experience. It's very hard for me not to enjoy an online shooter. There's nothing really stands out in my mind. Coming from Halo, Call of Duty, early Battlefield titles, mainly Battlefield Bad Company 2, back when it was a fucking awesome game, you know. Whichever games came between them and now, and more recently, Overwatch, which is apparently a dead game, somehow, with 150,000 viewers every Overwatch League episode, so, sure. Anyway, Apex Battle Royale spin-off of the Titanfall series, and recycles the models of some of the weapons. I've never played any Battle Royale game mode before Apex, even with the popularity of Fortnite, because I absolutely despised Minecraft and I didn't like crafting, so I wasn't going to download it and join everybody, whatever. I never fell for the meme, though the appeal of that type of game made sense to me. Drop in, drop out gameplay. On all platforms, it's free to play with a colorful scheme. It was designed to be user-friendly, not too punishing for the casual gamer. I understand that Fortnite added in much more content since its early days, so the complaint about lack of content wouldn't be relevant. So because of the success of PUBG spawning Fortnite, every developer is now doing their best to pump out their own take on the Battle Royale game mode. A game mode which is highly overrated, as you're going to come to understand. Rewinding a few months back to October, Black Ops 4 came out touting its take on the Battle Royale franchise, Blackout, which was a grand failure by many standards, to say. Too bad Activision sealed its fate before it could even be considered a contender. A full game price tag on a multiplayer game with limited launch content and future content in the form of premium DLC will be an absolute handicap against your game to be a decent contender. I never played it, and haven't really bothered to support Call of Duty since Black Ops 2, which was probably the last good Call of Duty game, in my opinion. But why is this relevant to Apex? It's the premium model versus the free-to-play model, the latter of which helps inflate Apex's popularity among gamers. Fucking hate saying that, by the way. It's just a stupid term. This makes people think the game that they're playing is great without asking the question, would I still enjoy this game if I had to pay for it? Probably the answer, if you had to pay for it, would be a big fat no. I use the same argument with Netflix with the series. Would it be as good if you had to wait week by week for that series? Chances are it's mostly a no, because nothing happens in it. Right away at the start, you have the tutorial that you do before dropping into King's Canyon. Stock standard shooter thing. Everybody wants to try and skip it and figure things out for themselves these days. After 5 minutes of figuring out the controls, you're quotation marks ready to drop into the world of Apex. First thing I noticed about the main screen is that it has almost the same amount of content and tabs as a public beta for any major game in the last 10 years. Not a big concern. The Halo Reach beta and Gears of War 3 beta barely had a decent download size to them, but they still had a lot of content in them for something that only worked for roughly 2 weeks. Apex's cosmetic catalog pales in comparison to Overwatch in terms of quality. I mean, banners and emblems at the start of a game are mostly things people don't pay attention to unless it's 3,000 kills on this character. Like, what the hell? Have you been playing this game 8 hours a day ever since it released? Sure. Because most of the unlocks you will get rarely be noticed, there isn't much real need for a progression system, and I don't see a point in sinking money into the microtransactions of Apex, especially when it's unfinished. Leveling up takes quite a while after about 10 hours of game time. I don't think it ramps up quite quickly, so that's why they push push more towards microtransactions, and I don't particularly care because it is only cosmetic, so it doesn't affect the gameplay. And given my average match lasted about 3 minutes, it wasn't very satisfying or enjoyable experience to me. You'd say, you're just bad, get good. And normally I'd agree with you, as you can see in the footage behind you to like keep you somewhat engaged while listening. You see that I'm actually really terrible. But only if you said this about Ninja Gaiden or the Soul series, not about a free-to-play game. But if you think the luck-based system can be beaten with skill, you're kidding yourself about the type of game you're playing. Dropping into a match takes about a minute of loading and obligatory flying before choosing a drop zone. Certain places have higher tier loot, making it more attractive to land. I somehow only end up getting an auto pistol or mid-tier armor trash. By the time I was figuring out how I was going to play this round, either myself or my team had been down. No sound indication that anyone was nearby or even visually. Gunshots on showing up on the map would be a great way to help, but the situational awareness of the game, it really relies heavily on how good you are and just overall awareness. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I digress. I always get shot in the back while finding loot or looking at a death box. That's only in the very first tier, right? How did somebody get a weapon when I know that we were the only people that dropped in the zone? How? How did they find me? I quit out, start the search again. This time I have the upper hand and get a decent weapon to start. No armor, fine. I can make do for the moment. Probably I'm gonna kill someone who has armor. I get the drop on an nameplate player, but they take a full magazine because luck of the draw. Guess what? They had mid-tier armor and they could take twice as much damage. But they take a full magazine because they had legendary armor. Quit and repeat again. Get surprised from behind. This is my average experience. Highest I got was by sneaking around and somehow getting to the third last squad on my own. That was a fun 12 minutes of not seeing a single player for 12 minutes. Like, are you kidding me? I got shot in the back in the end. Quality gameplay. That's all I said. Every time I died within a minute or got shot in the back, I just said quality gameplay. The champions you have on offer are 6. That's a start. There's 2 others that you don't have unlocked. You have 2 offense, 1 tank, 1 recon, and 2 supports. The appreciated thing in this game is that each character offers something for the team, but it's not a requirement to pick them over the other. Like with Overwatch, you got your healers, which are a necessity, and tanks are a necessity, and DPS is pretty good. Not always necessary. At this point, it begs the question, why have hero options and not custom classes? In a game like Apex, where it really suffers from lack of hero diversity, to be fair, in defense of Apex, it was released with virtually no announcement and came straight out of nowhere. So to attack the lack of content might be valid now. However, Halo 5 was a distinctly unfinished game at launch and became so much more interesting to play as it was updated. So I'm sure I'm going to eat my words in about 6 months when Apex has so much more content added to it. But I have watched Siegel's stream of Apex, and it got me to download it and see what it was all about. I might try out Fortnite so I can have a relative comparison in the free-to-play Battle Royale genre. Maybe PUBG if it eventually goes free-to-play. I doubt it, but, it's only got about half the viewers of Overwatch now, so, It's not all negative. Despite Apex having less variety than a free-to-play beta of Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, Destiny, whatever else you could list, even Rainbow Six Vegas Siege. It's still a great experience to play with friends, especially when I had my 2 friends drop in with me. It was quite enjoyable for the first 3 minutes, and then we died over and over and over again. That wasn't too fun. Didn't mind it though. I had some moments. Its game is the opposite in Overwatch, in that it encourages playing with friends for the optimal experience. Solo queue is easily the most frustrating aspect of Overwatch, because you can be paired with complete randoms, whereas Apex, it doesn't really punish you. You can be paired with randoms and luck of the draw. So I guess it's a yin and yang. It's balanced. And that another great thing about Apex, that ping system. I love it. Best way to communicate non-verbally with a microphone in a game, because my microphone, for whatever reason, can't go into the public chat, so nothing else I can rely on. Unless I can hash out a bunch of words to the text-to-voice chat, the ping system's the only form of communication I've got. So I'm very thankful for that. That's something that Apex has done really well, is the communication without a microphone. So I can give props to that where props is due. I can easily see where the game is so popular in the battle royale genre. It's not typical or truly true to the battle royale genre. Closing words, maybe if Apex adds more game modes, I'd be happy to come back to it, but as it is right now, game favors larger scale FFA, and just likes to reward randomness and luck. Something I've always absolutely loathed. I loved it in Halo 3 when I do all the work on somebody, and then someone would come around the corner and just one-shot my person that I worked so hard to do, and they would get me too. It's like, thank you. Thank you so much. And then, you know what? I just stuck with team games, because then I could be a toxic piece of shit and blame my teammates. So, Apex, you have the potential to be a Fortnite killer. Just bring in more to the table. I'll come back. But until then, I'll stick to being a mediocre hamster in Overwatch. Thank you.